Redline logbook here for chapter 41 of Wistoria. And we start off where we left off with the announcement that there is a traitor. Kerwin then decides to pop in to explain how they know that there's a traitor. Quite simply, it's because someone opened up the gate to the tower to let the monsters in. The tower can only be opened by people who have been recognized by the tower as a mage. Therefore, it has to be someone who is already in the tower that can open it. Which makes it quite obvious that there's a traitor amongst them. They just don't know who it is, because apparently it doesn't register who opens the tower. They just know the tower was opened. And so, since they had no ability to open the tower themselves until just now, they are the perfect people to be spies of their own factions. So you finally learn who the bad guys really are. They're known as Gothia, or at least the remnants of them. This has a lot of evilist vibes to it, where basically 10 years ago, Gothia apparently started a war with the tower, even killed a couple of Majawanda, and almost brought down the sky. But they were defeated. It was the closest the world had ever been to disaster. Unfortunately, not all of Gothia was wiped out, and the remnants are now trying to continue their plan of bringing down the sky. Will has a personal connection to this because the monster that almost got him and Elfie killed when they were kids and opened his awakening was part of this war between the tower and Gothia. After giving their orders, they all decide to leave, and now they're all discussing together as a giant class how they're going to even do this. Many of the students are confused on how they would be able to investigate within their own group. Yagner claims that the elves are too dignified to be a traitor, so he doesn't even believe he needs to investigate. Thawne calls him out for that real quick. Clannad is super excited and basically orders everyone to do their job properly, that they're going to fulfill this mission. So Clannad is being Clannad again, no big deal. Unfortunately for her, that just isn't going to work out, because we then skip over to the next day, and we are now currently in Stadium 2. This stadium is the base of the Earth faction, and currently Clannad is in a princess dress, a crown, and sitting on a throne, while all the other Earth members are celebrating. Yeah, so apparently, Earth magic is rare. It's not the rarest, I think light is, but it's rare enough to where there aren't a lot of mages out there who can use Earth magic, and so most don't even want to go into the tower. They just go into their own private lives. Those who are willing to go into the tower have a tendency to be men, and apparently there hasn't been a female joining the faction for 20 years, and so they are all excited. Clannad is also apparently descended from a former Majawanda, so in every aspect she's what they all been waiting for. They are ecstatic. Rose also joined the faction, but she isn't being treated the same way, and I was wondering why until it was revealed that one of the old men is actually her grandfather, Wergens, who I'm pretty sure is the head of the entire faction, and he actually thanks his granddaughter for getting Clannad to join. And so yeah, Clannad's optimism about doing an investigation of the Earth faction is completely crumbled, because now she needs to figure out what she's going to do now they're treating her like a princess. In the third stadium, we got the Ice faction with Elfie, who is currently crying endlessly. In fact, her entire chair is now covered in water. She's been crying so much. And she needs to greet all the newbies, but she doesn't care, nor is she going to even try to care. That is until Julius stands up and then decides to basically flatter her by saying that Will thinks she's beautiful and amazing mage, and he would think that she would like to portray herself in a matter that Will would respect. And this works. This convinces Elfie to stop crying, sit up straight, and then talk like a saint. She goes all prim and proper and starts welcoming all the new members of the faction, saying how great they are, and then specifically then mentions Julius, saying that he is an amazing asset to the faction, and he is going to help her get back what was stolen. Yeah, so Julius's job going forward in the Ice faction is trying to steal Will. And now Julius wishes to quit. As for Yagner, because he was the only elf that had to go through the entire school to graduate, he is still looked down upon. He's basically just kneeling down, bowing to the queen, while everyone ridicules him for being so weak and pathetic to take so long to get to there. Eleanor then throws down a collar at him, and he's like, "Oh, thank you, is this a gift?" And she's like, "No, this is not a gift." She then forcibly applies the collar to his neck and says, "It is the perfect accessory to someone who shamed our race, and with this, you will no longer be able to escape me." Now, these two were childhood sweethearts. Heavily implies she still has feelings for him, and then when he left their home to join the academy, this kind of broke her heart, I think, and because she's kind of batshit crazy, she's now forcibly keeping him at her side, even if that means treating him like a dog. God, they have a really toxic relationship. I don't know how else to put it. This is really fucked up. Yagner needs to find himself a better woman. Just saying. In the fifth stadium, the Fire faction, the newbies are greeted with a literal fireball. Yeah, so because so many of the Fire faction got killed during festival, they are desperate to get their numbers and power up again. And so this was basically a test to see if any of them were worth inviting into the tower. And at this point, they're considered to be trash. That is until Thawne steps up and says, "No, keep going. Test me some more. I want to keep training. I need to surpass that failure." So yeah, Thawne's entire involvement in the fire faction is just him going to be fighting constantly, which works out great for Thawne. And finally, we're in the Thunder faction, and right now, everyone is running, just endlessly around a track. Liana is currently dying of exhaustion, while Will is perfectly okay. Most likely we're going to be seeing these three a lot, so their names are Milu, Olganu, and Nanaru. And these three are just members of the Thunder unit who are also currently running, and they decide that they're going to speed up to increase their lap. Liana, on the other hand, just collapses from exhaustion. I can't remember his name, but Zero's right hand then starts to yell and just straight up to beat up Liana for not being able to run. Apparently he does this to all the newbies. He likes to make them run until they collapse and then scold them for not being able to run. Will cuts in and asks to take on all of her laps in exchange for letting Lena alone. And so he goes, okay, fine, give me 100 laps. Will does it pretty damn quick, easy. This is okay, another 100 more. Will does it again. Guy starts to get irritated. He's like, okay, fine. I know how this is going to go. And then slowly and steadily, he just keeps increasing the number to 200, 300, 500. And while doing this, he's actively just getting himself a drink, sitting on a long chair, just enjoying as Will slowly and inevitably works himself into exhaustion and collapses. And when Will can't stand anymore because he's exhausted, that's when he's then abused, just as Lena was, called the weakling, kicked, abused. Same old, same old. It's apparently something he likes to do. Will apparently also broke a record, like on your first day being able to run 1,600 laps. Not surprising. I mean, Will's entire way of life is fighting with a sword. He's definitely stronger than a mage when it comes to running. That's when Zero finally shows up, and he decides now it's time for everyone to fight. Not a joke. After you're exhausted from running and training, you then have to fight. Will finally understands why Liana didn't want anything to do with trying to investigate this faction, because you're too exhausted to do anything. That's when we jump over to a deep dark room where people in masks and black robes are currently talking with one another. This is Gothic, and they're discussing the failure of what happened at the festival and a few other things. Now, it's unclear if these guys are worshipping a god named Baal, or he was calling upon this only character we see the face of, and her name is called Baal. If this girl is Baal and they're just giving her an order, the order is for her to seize a key that will help them destroy the heavens, to unleash the real sky. And as you can imagine, for a woman to be a part of a evil organization, she's batshit crazy. She looks as you could probably imagine. Messed up hair, crazy eyes, wicked smile. Everything about her just screams, I am going to kill anything I want. She seems to have some semblance of rationality, because she straight up says that she'll follow the orders of Gothic, so she respects the chain of command, but still, it's clear that she's the kind of person who enjoys killing and torturing. Alright, if you enjoy this video, subscribe, give it a thumbs up so you enjoy more Wistoria and other things. Thank you, and have a great day.